ado, let's begin. Welcome in, everybody. Good afternoon, sports fans. It's your friendly neighborhood Paul here, broadcasting to you live, and I am joined by a plethora of amazing adventurers. Say hi, amazing adventurers.
Hello!
You can tell they're so excited to be put on the spot like that.
And we're all gonna die.
No, not all. I gotta have one of you survive to tell the tale, to then recruit other people to then, do it again. The redemption arc that you
I
all
already know who's going
wanted.
to live and who's going to die.
Impossible. You don't know what's going on in this head. Even I don't. If you did, I'd be terrified. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Legends of Noia, the homebrew D&D campaign hosted by me, your friendly neighborhood Paul, and with me I'm just gonna go on through the Zoom. We have Glittering Moon Elf. We have Queen Corvy.
The one and only.
We have probably Oliver.
Hello.
And as a player, the Judgy DM.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first official episode, kind of the episode 0.50 episode introduction to the campaign, if you will. Now, we could go any which way with these four wonderful adventurers. So what are we going to do? We're going to roll a d4 to see whose character is going to get introduced first.
Ooh,
So,
First roll of the campaign.
Woo!
Okay. We start this journey off in the high mountains of the Republic of Stone. A region that is controlled by two clan chiefs. The clan chief for the dwarves and the clan chiefs for the Goliaths. And as we zoom in on this magnificent city in the clouds, we draw into the keep, where we are met by, well, Queen, how about you describe your character to us?
So today I will be playing Jinvia the Barbarian. She is a Goliath woman. She's got really long white hair. She's got blue, like, kind of want to say like Nordic markings on her face, kind of like war paint almost. She is dressed in furs and leathers and things of that nature. Big gal.
Here, let me just do this one time so everybody can see. This is the Hero Forge version of her. We are in the midst of getting fan art done, and when they get done, it's going to be amazing. So, Jinvia is walking into the place that she is known at to be home, the keep of Snowharf. And as she enters into the large room, there's a man sitting on their throne, hearing the last bits of the reports for the day. This man is known as the clan chief, or more known to Jinvia as her father.
Yes, that's enough. I get it. We will address the robberies at a later date. I need to have a discussion with my daughter.
As calling into terms as you walk into the room, the rest of the room, seeing you and realizing the discussion that is about to happen and wanting zero part of it, begin to file out. One Goliath stands back. He's a very large, heavy-set Goliath. You would know him as, I believe Louvold is his name, or simply for you is Uncle Lou. He fought with your dad when he was a very young man and has since become one of your father's most trusted advisors.
You, gonna try to talk to him again?
You know it.
Well, don't push too hard. You know how he gets. Tends to like to push back. Just
I guess
keep
we'll
those
have to
emotions
see.
in check. Remember, you gotta.
I'll keep that in mind, Uncle.
He puts a big smile on and kind of clasps your shoulder, kind of giving you a gentle squeeze. Slight reassurance. As they leave, you are left in the throne room with your father.
Father,
Oh, what, no dad? Genvia, I assume you want to discuss your proposition of exploring again.
yes.
He kind of takes a deep breath, a heavy sigh as he's been dreading talking to you about this again. After last time, you two didn't exactly end it on great terms, with one person throwing an axe out the window and the other person storming out.
I
She kind of.
apologize for losing my temper and throwing my axe.
That's all right, Father. So, can I leave?
Well, yes and no. You can leave because, well, I know as well as anyone that you are your mother's daughter, and if your mind is set to something, you will do it. However, I do ask that you take some cautions along the way.
Of course, Father.
Well, I cannot. You've been training. You've been becoming into your own as a warrior. As you know, I cannot be in clan chief for much longer. As much as I would love nothing more than for you to take my place, I understand that this may not be the path you want.
Father, don't get me wrong. I do want to take your place as clan chief. But in order for me to do so, I want to be able to lead our people to a brighter future, a to flourish, to grow. And I feel if I travel and experience these new things, meet new people, perhaps even make alliances, I just want to do our people proud. I want to be knowledgeable and not just our own cultures and governments, but the other governments as well.
See, he just kind of smiles at you, realizing full well that there's nothing he can say to make you stay, though he desperately wants it.
Like I said, remind me more and more of your mother every day. Rest her soul. You know why I don't want you to go, right? Like, you understand. What? I can't lose you the way I lost your mother. She died. Talos only knows where.
I understand your concerns, Father, but I can't live with this fear either. Nothing will happen if we just stay here. I have to do this.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Oh no.
Let's you got to kind of wrap around your fingers. Pretty low DC. We'll give you a DC of 10.
$15.
Okay. You can see that there's a lot of sadness in the child leaving the nest. Like it's something that he doesn't want to do, as you are, his only child, his only daughter, and the last kind of family that he truly has, other than his brothers in arms that he has made through his years of battling and just being the clan chief. Right.
You may leave, but I ask that you take this with you.
He gets up from his chair and goes kind of back behind kind of to the back of the throne room, and pulls out a little little wooden box. Nothing fancy about it. It's very. You guys have very little elegance with a lot of your decor. You guys typically value a lot more function over fashion. The things that do have the little bits of ornateness to them are typically things that you guys get from the dwarves during your guys' annual, the clan chief's annual meetings, which your father was just about to get into, about figuring out who he's going to be taking on his trip down south to meet with the dwarven clan chief.
It was something your mother worked on. She wished to give it to you when you were set to do your own traveling.
And he hands you this small little box.
She takes the box from her father and opens it.
Inside the box, you see it is a small, kind of like little light blue orb. Inside of it is I believe it's a hot solly, which is just a small white mountain flower. And it almost looks like it's cast inside, it's almost like a very light blue resin that it's inside of.
Your mother was a bit more with the arcane than most Goliaths. And with this, you should be able to call if ever you need. Use it, I believe. I don't know how many times you can use it in a day, but if you ever want to put your old man at ease, you could call every now and again if you don't want to travel all the way back. I understand.
Yes, Father. She kind of like pockets the orb in her side pouch.
He kind of gives you a look like, he's like, you better fucking call. You better fucking call. Don't make me call you.
All right. Where will you head first?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm just probably going to head south. See where that leads me.
He kind of cocks an eyebrow like,
Well, that would lead you to Bozarm. Unless you're trying to head to the Golden Coast with the sailors. Daughters of Eldath aren't too shabby of people if you can get past their highbrow nature. Senyu is, well, Senyu. But I guess if you're heading south, Bow's Arm isn't a bad place to go.
Kind of recollecting the layout, she kind of thinks, well, I could probably head into Vazram. Is that how you say it?
Bow's Arm.
Vozarm. Okay. Could head it to Vozarm. Probably first stop off at Dalworth. Dalworth.
Dalworth, yes.
I'm like, okay.
He kind of like cocks an eyebrow at that.
Dalworth. That's okay. That's your first big exploration.
To put this into perspective, you were essentially leaving like a large city, and Dalwar is like, I guess you would be leaving an area of like 10,000 people and then going to Dalwar, which is like maybe 1,200. So it's like that's I want to see the world. Dalwar. It's like, okay, start small. I like it. So he smiles and he wraps you in a big hug, pulling you in tight, like kind of squeezing you a little tighter than he probably needs to.
Papa, she's like tapping his shoulder.
Oh, my little flower. What am I going to do without you here?
Father, you're a strong clans chief. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, but then I'll only have to... Who am I gonna talk to? Lou? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love
what's wrong
Lou,
with Uncle
but
Lou?
nothing's wrong with Uncle Lou. It's just... all he wants to talk about is business and things I have to... It's so boring after a time. You'll know soon enough.
He kind of gives you a little wink, like you're gonna be clan chief. He's like, you got it, because you know that clan chief isn't typically handed down. It's more of a battle. It's more of a competition, if you will. Every household that has a warrior that kind of fits within, who is a part of the, who's kind of a part of the clan, can nominate somebody to compete for clan chief. Obviously, you being the daughter of the current clan chief, you are not only expected to compete, but are also one of the more favored individuals to win it. Which is why when everybody heard that you were leaving, we're like, oh, that opens up the door.
All right, well, if you must go, then I suggest you go before I change my mind.
She kind of like pats her father on the back before kind of like pulling away. I will call you as soon as I can. Once I reach where I need to go.
He smiles and he... Give me either persuasion or deception, however you wanna view this one, or just give me a straight charisma roll if you're not proficient in either of those.
Okay. 18.
18. You see his eye, which he is a very stoic guy. Like you have seen him get emotional and like teary-eyed twice in your life. Once when you were hurt as a child from falling down a cliffside, and second when the news of your mother met him. And it looks like you're about to see it for a third time as his eyes kind of begin to water a little bit.
Papa.
I'm fine.
Just gotta give him this look.
I'm fine. Oh, good. Fine. It's just good mountain air in the eyes. That's it. It's fine. I'm fine.
Right. Well, Father, until next time. And she kind of bows slightly before the clan chief and walks out.
You see him. You hear him. Just like once again, just. I'm
fine. Nope. We're good. Everything's fine.
And then as you leave, you see Lou standing outside, arms crossed. Kind of just gives you a look like, how'd it go?
Keep an eye on him for me, please, Uncle Lou.
Like you even had to ask. Just be careful out there. Not everyone is going to be as kind as we are.
I understand. Till we see each other again.
He kind of he's like, do we see each other again? Get over here. And he just like wraps you. He once again wraps you in a big hug. He's actually not as tall as you are. Like you stand a good head and shoulders taller than him, which he's never been like it's never been a problem because he's always been a short Goliath. But he just kind of like wraps his arms around your waist and just kind of like lifts you up, even though you are taller than him. He's like, yep. He's like, I don't care how big you get, still doing it.
Uncle Lou.
He sets you down.
Now go. Be careful.
She nods and kind of just waves as she makes her way out.
Okay. And now let's see what the next character is that's going to be introduced. Okay. From the snowy, wind-filled mountaintops of Snowharf, we head down into some valleys, through thick forest filled with animals of any and every kind, some more dangerous than others, but all of which enjoying the warm summer air. As we come in on the small town of Dalwar, we head into those very small buildings, most of them farming communities, small huts, one large building in the middle that looks like it is a mix between a church and a hospital. And as we go into those doors, we are met by none other than Laura. Would you like to introduce your character?
My character's name is Nissa. She's got pink hair, red eyes, and bluish skin, and she's a Firbolg. And she wears colors of greens and browns and golds.
And just for everybody watching at home, once again, we're going to have some character art done for all these lovely individuals. So, as you're in there, you are finishing up the dressings on one of the younger boys. He had managed to, take a very express route down from climbing a tree, whacking his shins and elbows on the way down. Thankfully, nothing being broken, but having some pretty bad cuts and scrapes. And as you finish wrapping up the bandages, your mother looks at you. Nissa, dear.
Yes?
Are you almost done with the little lad there?
Just about.
Good, good. Your father was needing to talk to you about something today, but I'm not entirely sure what. You haven't been harassing your brother too much now, have you?
No, not at all.
She gives you that, like, parenting mother look of like, right. Well, how have your studies been?
I've been studying really hard.
Hmm. She kind of goes over to the desk that you kind of have in the office, and you have just piles of books that are just some of them are on herbology, some of them are on a little bit of medicine, and then some of them are a little bit of religious text, speaking most kind of talking about the miracle workers and little bits of the what the gods have bestowed upon other individuals. Each one of them, the spines look worn, like you have just constantly just been opening and closing them for like months and months. Well, hopefully you can get a bit of use out of these books.
I hope so.
But you know, there's a bit more to healing than simply reading about it, right?
Yes, the best way to learn is through experience.
Exactly. So is there no chance I can convince you to move to Fax? Which you would know Fax is the one of the two main large cities in Vozarm. Your mother has been slowly trying to get you to, well, move out of the town because she doesn't want you to get stuck there. She knows that you have shown a lot of potential when it comes to healing, and she has kind of ran out of things to teach you. And so she's been wanting to convince you to do this, but you have felt a obligation to your community for some reason to stay. One that she is very much trying to like, come on, you got this. You got this.
I just don't know how well I would do in such a large city. And what about the people here? They need help.
Mother takes a minute. Nessa, my dear. Look, little Billy is going to fall out of a tree next week. He'll do it again, like he's done it every week, all summer. I'll be here to bandage him, as well as anyone else. You have a gift that needs to be shared and needs to be developed more. I'm
Do
not
you
saying you have
really-
to go and get wed. I'm not trying to push that. That's your father's business. I'm not trying to push that on you. Simply saying, I think it would do you some good.
Do you really think I'll be able to make it if I leave?
Mother takes your hands in hers. She is getting kind of up there in age. She's not like on death's doorstep by any stretch of the imagination, but she is a bit older. You know, like her fur isn't quite as vibrant, it's a bit grayed. Her hands are kind of wrinkled up, and her back's got a kind of a slight arch from years and years of poor posture. Look, dearie, if you don't try, you'll always live with a bit of regret. And if worst, what's the worst that happens? You try, and let's say you don't make it. This town's not going anywhere. He kind of gives you a warm smile, like, you're capable of great things, Nissa.
And Nissa's just kind of taking all of this in and thinking about it, and she's just nodding as she's listening to her mother.
All right. Well, if that's how you're going to do it, if you want to, we'll give you a few days. We'll let you talk to your father before we start getting anything too crazy. Okay?
I just hope it's not the marriage talk again.
It's probably going to be the marriage talk. Unless you've been harassing your brother again.
Well, I wouldn't harass my brother if he didn't pick on me so much.
I'm sorry. Who's the older sibling again?
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
It's your little brother. Of course he's gonna Of course he's gonna try to poke jokes. Look, he's just mad. He doesn't have the healing abilities, and he's a decent enough farmer with your father's help. So, of course he's gonna take little jabs.
Of course. I'll try to do better.
Um, Queen, can you give me a survival roll?
Ooh. Eight?
An 8. Okay.
8?
So you're currently making your way down the mountain right now. I need Nissa to give me a perception check.
All right. 19.
19. Okay. Queen, could you give me a Constitution saving throw?
Oh dear. 12?
12. Okay. So Jinvia has been working her way down the mountain. She's now gotten past that rough, rocky terrain that she has kind of grown and kind of known, and she's kind of getting into the valley. And this valley and these woods are they're not like the kind of sparse fields that she's used to. These are very thick, dense woods with, down trees, thick vines. I imagine Jinvi is having a lovely time walking around, just being like, ooh, ah. With an 8. Okay. What you fail to realize is where you were walking and through this thick brush, and as you kind of run your hands along some of the trees and along as you're just enjoying the nature, you notice that you kind of get a little scratched for some things. With a 12 on the Constitution, with that Constitution save, you notice that your arm starts to kind of swell up a bit.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Give me a medicine check with disadvantage.
Okay. 12.
12.
Mhm.
Okay. So with the 12, you have a general idea of what could have caused this, but you are also painfully aware that you do not have anything that can stop it. As your arm slowly begins to get a tingling sensation in it. You know that you rubbed your arm across, well, essentially a plant with barbs that can, well, deliver to smaller creatures would have made them knocked out immediately, but thanks to you being a Goliath and being as hearty as you are very much aware that your hand is slowly beginning to lose feeling.
Oh, that's not good. She's she's gonna try to book it to the closest city she's near.
And that is where Nissa is going to hear the thundering of a Goliath running through the woods, freaking out about her arm.
I need a healer, please. Can someone help me?
And Nissa's going to hear this, I assume.
Yes, with a 19, you heard her like a solid like 1,000 meters out. Like just, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Give me another con save.
Oh gosh. A 13?
A 13. Okay. You notice that it's not, thanks to you being a Goliath and thanks to you being, once again, as hard as you are, you don't feel it kind of creeping anywhere else, but you are very much aware that like everything from the elbow down is just pins and needles. And then as you kind of break through the tree line, that is when Nissa, you see Jinvia.
And Nissa's immediately going to rush over. How can I help you? What happened?
It's my arm. I rubbed it against something, and now from my elbow down, it's just pins and needles.
All right, I think I can take care of this. Let me see your arm. And she immediately starts looking over her arm and seeing what she can do to treat it.
Okay. Nissa, give me a medicine check with advantage.
Okay. That's a 24.
24. You know exactly what this is. You have seen so many travelers and kids alike running up to you, or in some cases knocked out. You know, which once again, you're surprised she's still standing because of how many slices are going across her forearm and how deep some of these are. You know it as the Devil's Barb, which is just a plant that just is literally laced with toxins. And you are shocked that this woman is standing up right now. But you are not entirely sure for how much longer. You also know that if that infection is not treated quickly, that it can get to the heart. And stop it.
And Nissa is rushing to treat her.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me see. So you move back in. You would have all the herbs and all this. Give me, Jimmy, give me one more Constitution roll.
That's a 6.
As you are saying this, and as you're in there, and you're like, I got you, like, oh, thank God, I am saved. You feel your legs start to give way as you kind of get little jelly legs as you move into this church-esque hospital. Thankfully, Nissa, give me we'll say athletics.
Okay.
As you're kind of like helping her along, like you would have her by the arm, and then as her legs start to kind of go a little wobbly, you're trying to help her stay steady.
17.
17. You're there, you got her, like she's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I mean, as her legs start to kind of go jello, and you're like, yep, I got you. You kind of get her up on one of the beds, and you begin working on her. How do you want to try to cure it?
She's going to grab whatever herbs and stuff that she would be aware that would help, and she's going to start using them on her arm.
Okay. So you're using your healer's kit?
Yep.
Okay. So give me another medicine check with advantage again to see if you can stop the spread, or to cure it outright.
That's a nat 20 plus 6, so 26.
You like I said, you know this stuff like the back of your hand. You have read these books. You saw it immediately. Your mom is kind of freaking out just because a Goliath just showed up into town almost dying. So you go and scoop her up, and you're immediately starting to bandage it up. Stop the poison from getting any worse. However, you do know that this does take time to get through. But she is not at risk of taking any more damage. But you do know that she is going to be out of commission for a little bit.
All right, guys, I gotta bounce.
All right, take it easy. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, some scheduling conflicts. The beauties of D&D. But yeah, so you now see as Jinvia just passes out after you heal her.
And this is just kind of wiping her brow right now, like that was thinking that was close, possibly too close.
You know if she had if she had been any further away from the town, she probably would have passed out, would have collapsed out in the forest. She was one more bad roll away. She was one more bad roll away from just full on out. Okay. So you get her set up. You save this woman's life. You have no idea. You don't know who she is, but all you know is that you have a Goliath passed out in front of you. Your mom just kind of comes up to you like very, very much impressed. You see, Nissa, you can do this. Look, you didn't even... You know exactly what to do. You just reacted.
Well, I have seen this before many times.
Oh, so... You know how many stab wounds I've seen? That doesn't mean that I'm always going to be able to fix the problem right away. Yet you here... I mean, you see how pale... She goes to say how pale, and then kind of looks. She's like, already pretty pale. Well, you see how much paler she could have been.
Yes.
Look, I'm not going to tell you how to live. Simply saying, if you stay here, I will continue to bug you for the rest of your life.
I suppose I could give some thought to leaving. It's better than constantly hearing Father's marriage talk.
Speaking of, why don't you go talk to him while I tend to the lass here?
All right, I'll go see him.
So you end up leaving the church. You end up leaving this renovated hospital, and you end up making your way down towards the end of the village. Into this small little shack that you have known since you were a child. You guys moved here. You guys would have moved in a couple years, about 10 years back from Senyu, when Vozarm kind of became less prejudice, we'll say, towards non-human or humanoid species, or races, I should say. And as you walk in, your dad's kind of your dad is kind of like hunched over the little chimney that you guys have in the back. He's currently like, it's by the smells of it, it smells like he's making his week stew, which you know because he makes it once a week and it stays in that pot for the entire week. And then instead of cleaning the pot, he just throws more ingredients on top of the pot for more week stew.
Oh, God.
And as you walk in, he kind of turns around. He is as wide as he is tall. Just big gut, broad shouldered. He's been working farmlands and fields his entire life.
Well, this just who I was hoping to see. Come
Go ahead,
on.
Father.
Your mother tell you anything?
She just encouraged me to get out of town again.
I keep. You don't need to leave town. You just need to settle down with a lad.
Father, I haven't found anyone that I quite want to settle down with.
What about the Jacksons, boy? He's nice. He can push a plow. He's good with his hands. I mean, he's a little on the short side, and sure, his nose is a little sideways, but it's fine. You know, he's got that. I can't think of a compliment for his looks. I really am struggling here.
He's very nice, Father, but I just don't want to settle down yet.
He lets out just a big heavy sigh and it's like, fine, fine.
I understand. You don't want to have this conversation with your old man all the time. Just saying. You know, not a bad idea. Your mother and I are perfectly happy.
When and if I meet someone, I will settle down, but I just haven't met the right person and I'm not ready yet.
Fine, fine. Fine. I won't. I understand. You want to fall in love like all of your little books that you read. Don't think that I don't know about the ones you hide in your room.
You immediately feel a cold sweat on the back of your neck as you think, oh god, what books has he seen? As you wonder, what has a more worn spine, the books in the hospital or under a pale moon?
Look, fine. Just at least have lunch with me. I know your mother's busy, probably taping up another poor boy who fell out of a tree again.
I did that earlier, actually.
I meant that as a joke, but okay, I guess.
As you sit and you have, say, lunch with your old man, you can hear your brother out in the field kind of beginning to work, cursing as he's struggling to keep the plow in a straight line. And you wonder just if you should, well, stay or and try to marry, or maybe take your mother's advice. But we'll get to that later. As we move on to the next character. No, we're not going to go back to Jinvia because she's laid out, so. Okay. And as we pull out of this small town with one of our lovely adventurers currently passed out due to fucking Devil's Barb, and the other trying to convince both her parents that she doesn't want to do either of those two things, we head down south. Aboard a ship filled with a handful of merchants and travelers, one of whom seems rather pleased with himself as he sits his back against the front of the ship, twiddling away at his thumbs, enjoying the rolling waves and the warm breeze coming off the sea. Oliver, would you tell us about your character?
Of course. It's Tertius, the grand fighter from Senhu, he's a big boy. He's you wouldn't miss him. You wouldn't miss him in a crowd. He's had, I don't know, some level of fame, some level of maybe even infamy in his hometown, but Now he's on his way elsewhere.
As you sit and are enjoying this little bit of peace and serenity on this ship that you have managed to gain passage on, sailing out of from the city of Senu, the city of Sains, along the northern coast of Senu, and sailing all the way around Vozarm, just past almost to the Republic of Stone. As you sit there, another young traveler, a young boy who came from Sains. Are you really him?
Listen, mate. Just leave me alone. I'm not here to talk to no bratty little bastards.
But you're like, you gotta be him, right? Can you do the? Can
I ain't doing the thing. I ain't doing the thing.
Well, I mean, you even have the belt, and he points at the slam belt that you, for some reason, were like, you know what? As just the biggest middle finger to your previous employer, decided to take with you when you had an early retirement, we will say, from the professional gladiator circuit. He's pointing at the belt, and he's just like he wants you to do that like signature pose that you do with the belt.
Look, kid. I'm sure you've seen me around. I'm sure you think you know who I am. But you don't. So run off, back to your mother, and leave me alone.
You see in his eye. Yeah, give me an insight check. So if you have D&D Beyond, you can just click the little insight thing.
I think I've learned how to do that.
I'm fairly certain I know how to push that button.
Insight. Which one's
Yep.
insight?
Alphabetical. Underneath history.
Oh. Yeah. 10.
10. You don't particularly care what the look on this kid's face, but just in your glancing at this kid, you can tell he is truly and utterly heartbroken. And as he kind of walks away, you see in his give me a perception check. See if you notice something he's holding.
17. 19.
19. You absolutely see it. You see in his hand a flyer for the last match you had, where it was you versus the number one contender, an ogre from the opposing, a gladiator who had came over from the opposing competition, from the Mandor side of things, which now top of my head I'm blanking on what we called them, because it was Slam versus Mad. So the Mandor Arsenal of Destruction League is what I believe that was called. So Mandor, yeah. So he had come over from Mandor and was determined to take your belt, and had fought all the other contenders, and got to you, and you guys fought in the fire pits, which is just the normal gladiator pit, except you had the whole thing surrounded in fire, because that's wrestling. Full pay-per-view WWE style. And you see that flyer where you see a little bit of you, so you see you and him kind of like head-to-head art, and then just flames behind.
Kid, come back.
He turns around, still a little hurt, but is also like,
get back here.
Yeah, he scurries back up to you.
All right. What you want me to sign it? You want to hold the belt? You want me to? Oh, I ain't doing
His eyes go. like when you said sign it, his eyes were like yes. When you said hold the belt, his eyes turned to the size of dinner plates. Just like, oh my god, I didn't know that was an option. Like it's like a kid finding out they can have ice cream for breakfast. Like, I can do that? Like
All right. I put the belt on his shoulder. I give him his moment.
so this kid is probably ballpark about 7 years old, 7-year-old human. Thin string bean kid. Your typical wrestling fan, like just a string bean squirrely little kid. And like this belt takes up all of his torso. And he's like almost looks like he's not able to like he manages to stand up, but he's just like Mom, and he's like waving at this woman, and you can see this woman who is just looks like she's at her wits' end after like you've been on this boat for about a week. You've managed to kind of lay low for the most part, and she's at wits' end. Her hair's kind of frazzled, and you can tell like this kid has been like wanting to talk to you for the entire trip, but she was also like, "That's not fucking him. It's not. I know, but like, it's not him. Don't bother the man. Like, we're gonna be on this boat for a week, and I don't feel like having this guy mad at us. But you guys being this close to shore, finally, she was like, go, fine, do you live your best life." And as she turns, she sees and her eyes go big because she's like, "Holy shit, that is him. What is my kid doing? That's a big minotaur." Like all three of those things in one moment. She rushes over. "I'm so sorry." She like grabs the belt, and she even is like, as she lifts it, is like, "Holy shit, that's him." Like expecting it to be some cheap stuff and not realizing that it is cast iron. Like this is a real weapon that is used. It is not a fake little like flimsy thing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for him. Just please, I thank you so much, but I am so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. Just look. He's got his signature. He's had his moment. Now, please, both of you, piss off.
Give me an insight check. Another insight check. Man, you are gonna be fun. You are gonna be so much fun.
2.
You say this like you do this every time. You are like, yeah, like you're back in the ring now. Piss off. Like and everybody roars except there is the only roar is the waves. And this woman who was so happy is now looking at you with like the most like, how fucking dare you? As she just grabs her kid and kind of pulls him away. As you guys are kind of sailing towards port, the captain kind of comes up to you. Or yeah, the captain comes up to you. He's human, very tan skin, very like he's been at this for a long time. Like this man looks like he was born at sea and has done nothing but sail for the ballpark 45, 50 years been around. All right, all right, all right. Gonna pay up the fee to ride, or what's happening here? I let you on board. You said you could pay us when we got to the docks. Now, is that all a lie, or are you actually going to pay? You do not have the money that was required for this trip.
Tyrissus doesn't really want to. He doesn't want to lean into his celebrity or anything. He does want to just be left alone. He kind of realizes he's not really got much of anything of worth apart from.
Yeah, you kind of like left the arena. So to put this in perspective for everybody else, he lost his last bout due to scripting. And he wasn't told that he was going to lose this fight in a very similar thing to the, I forget the name of it, the something screw job. I can't remember what it is.
The Montreal screw job.
The Montreal screw job. Thank you very much. I knew you would get it. In a very similar fashion to the Montreal screw job, where the wrestler who lost did not know he was going to lose, is very similar to how Turius lost his belt, and in doing so was so furious he smashed the new champion in the face with the belt, and then immediately left the arena and hopped on a boat. So he had nothing but literally what he had on his back and what he could grab out of the locker room before guards could grab him. Needless to say, he ain't got much on him.
Look, mate, I ain't got much. You know, how about a photo opportunity? I mean, you know who I am, didn't you? We'll have a photo opportunity. I'll sign whatever you want, and you give me free passage. Can't say fairer than that.
He's looking at you very bewildered. I'm from the Golden Coast. I have no idea who you are. Like a man who needed some help, I entered a bit of generosity, especially when you said you could pay when we got to port. Why would it? I mean, the kid. I just saw you, like, rip a kid's heart out. Or at least according to the mother, you're, how did she put it? A right tosser. So, no, I don't need a photo opportunity. And the only thing I want from you is, well, coin.
So Turdus kind of realizes that, yeah, the only thing he's got of value now on him is this damn belt, and it's a thing of pride for him. He doesn't want to give it. He doesn't want to give it away. Not to, especially not to a guy who knows nothing about him. Nothing about how he toiled for this. Mate, I can give you the belt. This is worth more than your nasty little boat ever will be. You take it, or I'll take your life, son.
He looks at you, and then he looks at this belt that you are claiming is worth more than his ship. Which, realistically, his ship is not like the pride of any naval fleet, but at the same time is enough for 50 passengers and for a week-long voyage, and that's not counting his crew. So, like, it's a pretty good-sized fucking boat. And, like, he's now at a point where he's like, this? So, okay, I need... Give me either a persuasion or intimidation check, whichever one you want to run with.
We're going intimidation.
Okay.
It's an 8.
An 8. Well, let's see what the dice say. Well, he rolled a 3, so he is kind of taken aback by the threat. Like, the belt, like, the insult got him to the point where he was gonna, like, do some shit. But then, like, as you threaten, you kind of, like, lean up a bit. And he's now realized, like, he's remembering now, it's like, oh, this dude is fucking huge. And, like, even though I could probably get my crew to kill him, he'll probably kill me first. Like, What do you got other than your belt?
Tyrus, he only knows the show of the Colosseum fights. And so the only other thing he's got is his two fists. He throws them right up. He gets into fighting stance on this guy.
Okay. So I'm gonna need two things right now. I don't know if I even have a boat map. I didn't think I would need one. And now I am hating myself for not having one. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So as you guys are having this conversation, the reason he brings this up is because the docks are very much coming into. You guys are like in the process of docking. Like you guys are that close. You throw your hands up. I need you to roll initiative.
Roll a what, sorry?
Initiative. So it's gonna be, yeah, fucking crazy person. I'm gonna put battle music on. You get battle music.
Where's initiative on this?
If you go to the, it's gonna be underneath your proficiency. Yeah.
21.
All right, so you're going first. So you're using your. Yeah, that's a nat 20 on that one. So congratulations, first nat 20 of the campaign. Whoop, whoop. So you square up with this guy. What do you? So you're just throwing this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you square up. What do you? So you're going to hit him. All right. Give me an attack roll.
Attack roll. Unarmed strike, I'm assuming.
Yes.
That's a 9.
That's a 9. Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can find. Hang on. One moment, sports fans. This is what happens when you don't think your people are gonna try to fight just a random ship captain. I love it, but fucking goddamn.
You're lucky I didn't fight the kid.
I thought you were. There was a moment. I was like, this guy's not actually gonna try to fight this kid, right? Let's go here. Gotta be like. Okay, cool. What'd you roll?
9.
A 9. A 9 misses. So you stand up, you square up, and you fucking just throw a haymaker. And this guy, and like, but as you are used to fighting in this arena, you are damn good at fighting in an arena. But you're on a fucking boat that is rocking with some waves and shit. So he manages to just like move around that punch like it's nothing. And then as he just lunges forward at you. And then he's just gonna do the same thing. So he saw you throw a punch, and now he's like, okay, well, fuck this guy. Does a 12's not gonna hit. You have your armor class is way higher than that. Yeah, 12's not gonna hit. So your armor class is an 18. So you have to meet or beat the 18 for it to hit. So as you throw a wild haymaker, he steps back, and then as he lunge forward to punch you, his fist just cracks into your fucking belt. And once again, that's like hard cast iron. And your hand is like his hand. He like pulls his hand back, like, God. And then he starts, and he's like, man, get this fucking bull off my boat. It's your turn.
Unarmed strike again.
Okay.
It's a 25.
Ooh. Ooh, that's not a nat 20, right?
No. 18 plus
Okay.
7.
So that's definitely gonna fucking hit. So go ahead and give me damage.
Damage.
Oh, it's okay. Wait, no, your unarmed strike is just straight damage. Okay. So you cock back and just bow like he hits your belt, you're like shaking your hand. And then you cock back and just knock this dude's like he staggers back against the boat bow. His lips are now bleeding. He is like that hurt a lot for him. The boat is now about 20 meters from docking. Like the guys on the docks are now like throwing ropes onto the boat to like pull it in and attach to the dock. As he rights himself again, you see two of the sailors come up from beneath the boat and they start making their way toward you. However, they are about, like I said, this is a big fucking boat, so they're like 60 feet away, and like towards the back of the boat, and you're at the front of the boat. That is nearest to the docks. So he stands back up and he charges at you, and he takes another swing, and that is gonna miss again. So he lunges at you, like kind of holding his face, like really hurting, and lunges at you, takes a swing, and just misses wide. It is your turn. What do you want to do?
I feel like I gotta get my horns out.
You're gonna hit him with the horns. All right, give me an attack roll.
It's a 12.
12 hits. Roll some damage.
That's the one just next to it, I'm guessing.
Yes.
11.
11. So you hit him with the horns now. You essentially stab him in the shoulder with your horns. He hits the front, hits literally the centerpiece of the boat. Like, I forget what the fuck it's called. The front of the boat. He's like up against it now. And he looks fucking bad. Like death's doorstep bad. As of right now, you are about the boat. Like the front of the boat is now in line with the docks, and you have 30 feet of movement. And the soldiers are coming, and the other two sailors are now coming up behind you.
Now, I'm torn. Do I use this to say, look, everyone back down, or does Tursis just double down and fight everyone? I feel like I've made my point. I feel like I wanted to do some damage to this guy. He talked shit on me. I don't want to fight anyone else. I don't want to keep this. I'm not here to like totally bludgeon everyone I see. I wanted to make a point against the guy.
Go ahead and give me an insight. Roll an insight check.
That hasn't worked for me so far. 15.
A 15. All right. So, from what you can tell, there are two sailors running at you. And you know, based on the fact that you've been on this ship for a week, that there are roughly about 16 crew members. And you had just assaulted their captain, who they have all been sailing with for years. There is no backing down from this. They are not going to, go quietly into that good. Now, I will say, this being your first D&D thing, so allow me to kind of give you your options, right? You can stay and fight, try to persuade them or intimidate them to leave you alone, which I will say right now is gonna be a damn high DC. That's gonna be you would have to roll an 18 or higher in order to convince them to even slow down. Because once again, their captain is bleeding behind you. Or 3, you can make an escape off the front of the boat. Because like I said, the front of the boat is now in line with the docks. And you have 30 feet of movement to where you can jump from the front of the boat onto the docks and take off before they get there. Leave those options to you.
Turris is he looks down, bloody captain. Behind him, couple of dudes running towards him.
Which they have swords out, by the way. These guys aren't gonna fisticuff you like the captain was. These dudes have swords out, ready to rock. It's no longer a subdue. It is a okay. This isn't a drunk passenger. This is a fucking threat.
You ever, mate, do your own work. Find out who is on your ship before you start suggesting you don't know who I am. I'm out of here. If I got 30 feet of movement, I can get on the dock.
So, I'm gonna give me an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. 4.
Oh, that's a nat 1. Oh, no! You have hit the first nat 20 and nat 1 of the campaign. Oh, my poor sweet summer child.
I'm going to assume that hasn't worked out well for me.
Okay. Here's what happens. You begin making a run off the boat. You deliver this fucking line, and you are feeling good. You're like, man, I still got it. And as you go to jump, once again, you're not good on boat. And as you go, you misjudge the drop. You're expecting it to be, like, pretty smooth because of how high up the docks were when you boarded the ship. Like, the docks were in line with it. Here, there's a pretty substantial drop. About 7-foot drop from the top. Once again, big boat. And so you go to step off, and you fall and eat shit. And you take 3 points of bludgeoning damage from the fall. So you just type 3 in there and hit damage. That is going to take, we'll say that's 5, we'll say 10 feet of movement. You can now, standing up takes half movement, and then so you can start running. So you deliver your line, eat shit off the boat, and then now you're on the dock, but you're laying on your stomach.
Terrace just kind of pulls himself up, kind of clutching his stomach, like that's winded him more than he thought it would. But he's a proud man.
Shame can propel the body for quite a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. We've all been there. And I don't know. He limps off. Like he's not running. Like he is still catching his breath, but he's just trying to get as far away from this ship as possible at this point. He wants out of it. He's a proud man, but he also knows that he has made a bit of a mistake here.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
Stealth. Oh.
To see if you can get past the rest of the dock workers.
12.
Okay. I'm rolling 4 d20s here, right? I've got one for the ship captain, one for the ship crew. We'll do 3. One for the captain, who's watched you just drop off the boat. The second one for the ship crew, and a third one for the dock hands. As you were trying to blend in with the crowd at the docks to slip away. Obviously, big fucking minotaur, but you're now kind of hunched over, fuck my chest. Ow. I rolled a 2, a 6, and a 19. So, what that means is, the ship crew loses you, the dock hands, don't see you or don't know who the fuck they're referencing, But the ship captain saw you scurrying away. But lucky for you, he can't get up right now. Because some would say that he has like 2 HP left. This guy was not. I looked up like a basic fucking guy, and that was who we found, and you almost murdered this man. And a very different introduction to you. So you're scurrying away, and I assume you're just heading fucking. You're just out of there. You're just trying to get out of town.
Yeah, he's like, he's still. Terrence is still clutching his stomach. He is just speaking expletives to himself. Fucking dickhead, fucking bastards. Just constantly as he makes his way out.
You give me a perception check real quick.
Perception 8.
Okay. As you were leaving, you kind of get a glance at some signs. You have no idea where you are. You've never been to this area before. You didn't even know where the hell this boat was going. You just knew it was away from where you were. In front of you, there is a cart that has a bunch of people has a handful of people, about 3 or 4 of them. All of them, none of them seem to know each other. They're all just kind of like minding their own business, all of them carrying axes. Then there's another cart that is kind of being drug along beside it that is just holding rations and some other thing. So you can either continue to try to hoof it and hope to outrun the captain and his crew, or it can attempt to jump on one of these wagons.
Yeah, he's jumping on the cart. He's gonna try and jump on the cart. Like he is not
jumping on the cart with the
thinking
people or
things
the
through.
Provisions.
With the people. He can speak
Okay.
to them. He's not gonna try and he's not throwing hands. He just
Okay,
They're going somewhere.
give me an acrobatics check with advantage, because this is you're like pretty good at, like, you're like, all right, cool, time to go. Like,
what's with advantage? How do I do
so go ahead, right click on the acrobatics, like on that number,
Yep,
and then hit
advantage.
advantage.
that? 14.
14. Okay, so it's not quite as seamless as you had hoped. You are still, like I said, you are a little winded. So you're like, kind of like, you grab on, you're kind of like hopping, and you just like jump in there. And then a few of the guys look, and you can see in here, there's a human, 2 wood elves, and then a half orc. So it's not like, you kind of blend in with this hodgepodge of people. Like, it's not like they're all, it's not like they're all just like humans or like a sore thumb. Like, it's kind of like a hodgepodge of people. They kind of regard you. They look at you and they're just like, trying to, ill.
Yeah, Neil. I had me in. Oh, I wasn't there for 5 minutes. Just got into port. Going to the mill. We all going, lads. Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of look at you a little bit. They see the hammer, which kind of gives them a weird look, but then they also see, like, you have 2 hand axes on your side. Like, alright, well, just don't be late for the next guy. The boss doesn't like it when people just are late or lazy.
Now, coast, yeah. On time, normally, on time.
And now we head to our last character. We pull away from this small port city, or the small port town, with a wounded pride minotaur. And as we kind of pull away, we head over to the city of. Now, Preen is a very large. It is the second capital, or the capital, if you will, of the Republic of Stone. It is home to the leader of the Republic of Stone, who goes by the name of Clan Chief Ulfgar Turan. Which, by the way, I totally forgot to go off. Clan Chief Vimic Stormcall is Jinvia's father. I totally forgot about that. I kept calling Clan Chief, and I was like, I never actually gave his name. My bad. But Clan Chief Ulfgar Turan lives in Preen, and that is the dwarven crown jewel of the continent, as well as the region of the Republic of Stone. Everything there is built very... It is built to withstand war. It is made of solid stone structures, and though everything is very much built for function, they have a very good amount of ornateness to them that is very much in line with how dwarven architecture goes. And while we zoom in on this area, we dive into we'll say a less ornate part of the city. Some, not quite the slums, but on a cheaper side of the city as we head into the Hag's Head Inn, where we find a dwarf sitting at a bar, having a conversation with a halfling bartender. Judgy DM, would you please tell us about your character?
Nice. Hi, I am playing Bev Romry. He is a mountain dwarf. Appearance-wise, he keeps his hair kind of like tied back. There's graying in it. Usually wears woodsy types clothing, more or less, as a ranger, and has a beard, mustache, whole shebang. But what's really odd about him is his left eye is blind, and his right eye isn't human. It's tiefling, and it's blue. But yeah,
don't mind the red. This was the initial character concept.
yeah, don't mind that.
It's God forbid he fucking keep changing shit.
Guy. Oh no.
He was angry in that image. That's why it's red.
You said it's a halfling bartender?
Yes, the halfling bartender.
Okay. Can I get another one of them devil's barbs drinks? The drinks, preferably.
He looks you up and down. Well, I don't see why not, but at the same time, are you sure you can keep handling your liquor? That's your second one this morning.
Don't worry about me. I handle what I can, which is enough.
You see him as he pulls out another glass, and you see him grab like 4 bottles and pours them all at one time. Like, for a halfling, this dude is very good at like just the dexterity of like holding and pouring bottles as he pours four dark liquors into one glass. Throws in a bit of ice from somewhere underneath the bar. Begins shaking it, strains it into a metal mug, and slides it over to you. It is essentially the equivalent to the 4 horsemen. That is what you just ordered.
Nice.
So he slides these drinks across the bar to you, or slides this drink across the bar to you. So, have you managed to find yourself any bit of work yet?
No. I mean, unless you count tracking. Well, what I call tracking.
Kind of gives you a look. So that's a no then.
Yes, it's a no.
Look, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here. As I understand that you are, well, a bit odd based on certain companies, and certain companies don't give me that fucking look. Nobody comes to the Hag's Head because of its, well, lovely atmosphere. And as he kind of gestures around, the interior of this place is very, like, it's very old. You can tell this bar has been here for an extended period of time. Sorry, my dog needs attending. I will be right back. I'm sorry. Give me just one moment, sports fans. Actually, Judgy DM, why don't you give him a rundown on what dungeon mechanics is?
Oh, sweet. So, for those that don't know, we are going to be on a new network channel on Twitch and other social media called Dungeon Mechanics. Basically, because people like Paul, people like me, Kevin, Queen, because we're all DMs now, essentially, we're all going to kind of like funnel at this one location where we can stream, and you all just have to go to like one place. But essentially, that will be starting up next month in September, and we hope everybody will be able to go out and follow it. So if you haven't yet, just go to Twitch at Dungeon Mechanics and give it a follow. And next month, we're all going to be there. So hope to see you there as well.
All right, and I'm back. Sorry about that. How dare my neighbors come home? You know what I mean? How dare my neighbors make a noise in their driveway, which causes my dog to freak out. All right, so where were we? Yeah. Yeah, so as he gestures around and he's kind of... This place, like I said, is very old, it's very run down. It's still functioning, but you can tell this place is very much like... This place it's been through a lot. Like, you can... Like, there are chunks out of the wall that are missing, bits of wood where you can tell, like, axes and swords have been lodged in them. The tables have bits and pieces of scarring in them as well. Little bits and pieces that you can tell, like, there is a lot of history that is in this place. Not all of it civil, we'll say. And then, yes, as you sit there, what begins flying through the door?
So Bev has a beast companion by the name of Torque that takes on the appearance of a flying monkey, essentially. And I guess as soon as it flies into the door, Bev will grab, like, I don't know, peanuts or whatever bar.
Yeah, we'll just say we'll say it's a bowl of nuts. We'll go with that.
Okay, bowl of nuts. He grabs a handful, plops one in his mouth, and like chucks one in the direction of this flying monkey.
So as Torque gets in, and for everybody who's kind of like Torque, think of Torque as kind of like Momo from Avatar, like that, like less raccoon-like, more monkey-like, but just like that size, like very small thing. It's not
Jones's monkey from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Anyways, you know the one that he stole? I don't know.
Did he steal a monkey in the Raiders of the
No, it
Lost
was
Ark?
a monkey that was with another guy, and it just like followed the girl around. It was just like monkey ploy. Here's a monkey.
Okay, I thought you were trying to go with Ace Ventura, and I was like, please tell me you're not confusing Ace Ventura and fucking...
Yeah, Ace Ventura had a monkey as well.
When Nature Calls. Bumblebee Tuna. Yeah, so think of that. Just think of... That's what it is. It's the little monkey from that monkey, which I blank on what it's called. Just Bumblebee Tuna. All right. So yeah, as you flick it, Torque just kind of grabs it. What did I say about bringing the monkey in here?
There's no signs that say we can't bring pets. I'm just saying. And if there is, I didn't read it. I am blind in one eye. As
you have made painfully aware to everyone. And then as you're saying this, you hear coming up behind you these thundering steps. As a giant stands behind you.
A giant? Is this a regular sized person or just
No, a giant. Like, she is a giant. That is her race. She stands behind you. Johnny,
Why is the monkey back?
Torque looks up at her and just kind of, and then she is Johnny's wife, and she does not like Torque because Torque had on more than one occasion just thrown shit at her for no reason. Not physical shit. I should probably be very clear on this.
Yes.
Just like grabbing random things off bars, like ashtrays and like glasses, empty glasses, sometimes empty glasses, and just chucking them at her strictly because she's a giant.
I see your wife is looking as voluptuous as always.
Well, Mary, my dear, well, it does fly around, so it's tough to kind of catch. Give me a dexterity save for Torque.
That'll essentially be a +2 instead. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Wait. My dex is +5. So 3. Oh, I gotta add more proficiency to him. So a +4. Sorry.
Okay, so go ahead, just give me a roll. And tell me what it is.
We got. I should have rolled my real dice. 15.
15. So you
Real
make it. So as I said John, right? I'm blanking on the names I even made up.
I think John.
Yeah, it's John and then his wife Mary. So as John finishes saying this, Mary immediately goes and just the table, and like Torque is and then like sees the hand coming and just leaps out of the way, and then just hisses as he flies, and then out the door again.
One day, I'm going to catch that rat.
Mary, dear, I'd prefer it if you didn't kill my beast companions. They do actually die when they die.
And she just kind of like huffs and just kind of goes back and then begins kind of like walking around tidying up bits and pieces of the bar. When are you gonna do that? You know how much I'm gonna have to what I'm gonna have to do later to warm her back up? I'm gonna be all grumpy the rest of the night. Don't you, no details to you. No detail. I told you details one time, and then what I hear? Three devil's bars later, and you're telling the whole bar about them.
That was prime. Oh, well,
Don't you, nope, don't you, don't.
it's neither here nor 3 drinks later, so.
Alright, well, unless you got some more coin, you might want to think about trying to find a bit of work. Because as much as I love having you here in the bar, you do bring in a bit of an oddity from time to time, as we've discussed on multiple occasions.
Hey,
But my goodwill can only be
Just-
last for so long.
because I have certain interests in certain women and other people's. It's not bad. It's good, service fare.
You've hit on Mary 4 times in front of me. After
Have-
finding out she was my wife.
Have you seen her? Well, obviously.
So John is just kind of like, look, it's the summer months. There's gonna be work somewhere. Even if there's not in your tracking stuff, if you head over to Vos's Arm, they got lumber work over there. You could always go try to work in the mines.
No mines.
Oh yeah, your whole child left in the dark thing. Look, are you gonna really let that priest, all of a sudden just... You can't let him scare you. I know he came out and he was freaking out about, oh, the child of the mind will kill us all kind of thing, but, you can't think that's all real, right?
Have you seen me? John, come on.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, you make just about every child that you see scream and run in terror. But I mean, aside from that, that's why I figured the mines would be perfect. It's dark, nobody looks at you.
I like the more open out areas.
All right, fine. So then, look, I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. You need to find some work. Now, normally, I would say just go do some manual labor, but since you like tracking, I have heard through some, we'll say some sources, not exactly reliable, but, or upstanding sources, but sources nonetheless, that there may or may not be, well, a murder.
Murder.
Well, kind of hit or miss here. Allegedly, the guy who runs the mill down there at Oak Creek, had a few of his men die upriver, ended up in the lumber traps. Now, of course, the local lieutenant to the Baron is saying that it was an animal attack. But none of the other lumber workers have come down the hills. It's been about 3 days. So, they're offering coin to whoever can bring back any information on either what killed it, what killed them, or what they believe who killed them.
Well, that's better than applying for the new open jobs.
Well, yeah, considering the last time you were a tracker, you kept hitting on the client.
It wasn't not in the contract. Fine print. Fine print.
Uh-huh. Well, something tells me that you hitting on, well, it wasn't even, you hit on the client, her daughter,
Yes.
and I believe you floated something towards her son as well?
I mean, the more
Look,
the merrier, right?
Look, trust me, I am a man of vertical taste as well. But that doesn't mean you have to hit on every giant Goliath and anything over 7 feet tall.
I mean, there are furbolgs out
Look, Bev, I'm saying this as your friend, and quite possibly your only real friend, aside from the monkey. Do yourself a favor, get yourself a bit of coin, get yourself a stable line of work. I feel like every time you come in here every other week with some new job that didn't exactly pan out for you.
there. Not wrong.
Try to find stable work.
So you want me to work at the stables? Got it.
Oh, for fuck's sake, get the fuck out. I already told you. He like jots down some of the information about the job at Wood Creek, kind of giving you the basic directions in that general area, and then on it he has Harbuk. It has written in there Harbuk Ungart, mill owner. And he hands that to you. He's like, "Finish your drink and get the fuck out."
Bev just like looks at his drink and picks it up, downs it, looks at the jotted note, kind of like scrunches it up a bit, puts it in one of his side pouches. Does this mean I'm gonna have to start paying on my tab?
Yes, that's exactly what this means. I'm tired. Do you know how many drinks you have on your open tab right now?
I don't keep track of that stuff.
Don't worry, Mary does.
Might be why she didn't like Torque. He does have drinks every once in a while. Anyways, yeah. Right. Bring back money. Stable work. But not necessarily at the stables. Anything else, John?
Take care of yourself out there.
Well, I always do. If I get distracted, though, I'm just saying.
So as you go to stand up, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh gosh, I was waiting for it.
Oh yeah, you just knock back 3-4 horsemen. All right, like
And
you're a
that
dwarf. Your body is not.
No pluses. Actually, I'm gonna roll my actual dice because
Roll your actual dice. You are allowed to roll but ladies and gentlemen, you do if they have actual dice, they're allowed to roll those. We go by the the golden rule of D&D playing: don't fucking lie about your dice.
Yeah, that's just. Oh, 17. Just flat 17.
Flat 17. All right, so you managed to hop off the bar, and your liver is the stuff of champions. You have been coming in here and drinking Devil's Barb for like months at this point. Like you
I'm waiting for it.
stumbled into that bar first and just never bothered looking for another one. Was it because of Mary, or was it simply because the halfling who took pity on you when you were like, "Can I get a drink?" And he was like, and he didn't immediately throw you out, like, or give you a weird look like the other people in the town? Who's to say? So now, you are, I'm assuming, down post haste.
Yeah, maybe taking the scenic route, which is the way I memorize going through town without seeing any guards or other people that may just,
You go the back alley route to like
Yeah.
avoid every major area. Got it. Okay, so you are now making your way to Oak. We now have our Durius is now just riding a wagon to a mill of that he has no idea of where, and Jinvia and Nissa are now currently, well, one is having a lovely lunch, and the other one is passed out. We are actually going to move back over to Nissa. This is the next day. You have heard your dad make his case. Your brother came in talking a bunch of shit. You two got into your normal sibling scrap. You very easily overpowering him and pinning him down until he screamed for mercy, as is the way it has been your entire life. And the next day, you get up to find Jinvia is stable. She is beginning to wake up. However, you are noticing something strange going on with the wound. You managed to stop the Devil's Barb, but for some reason, something about the cuts don't add up. Like there's something else. There's some other cuts in there that almost seem like they were deeper. Like they were almost like they came from something else that she ran her arm across. And you're not entirely sure what it is, and neither is your mom. Which is very troubling for you, considering your mom has been doing this for decades. So, what would you like to try to do?
She's going to see if she can reference any of her books and see if she can figure out what might have caused it.
Give me an investigation check with advantage, because you do know these books pretty front to back. So you have a pretty good idea of where you need to be looking.
Okay. A 14.
14. So as you're flipping through the books, you notice that some of the you flip through the herbology book, and you're not seeing anything in there. You find the Devil's Barb again, and you're glancing through it, and everything that you know about this stuff has already been treated. You were able to apply the remedy to heal it, so like those wounds have like since kind of been covered over, and they're starting to scab and heal up well. But for some reason, these other wounds aren't, and you're not sure exactly what they are. As you kind of skim through some of the your like beast book, essentially, like of animal attacks and bites and things like that, you kind of see some things that might cause those scratches, but nothing that you can like actively pinpoint down. But then when you get to the last book, your Book of Miracles, you begin to actually see some things that are kind of doing this, because as she is laying there, she is fully passed out. Like, she is still kind of sweating, though it is a little warm, but she shouldn't be sweating this much. And you're not entirely sure what is causing that, but when you kind of look into the Book of Miracles, you can see that there are curses and things of that nature that could give off these symptoms. And you're not 100% sure if these are what these are or why she would have gotten them, but you see them nonetheless. You kind of have a ballpark idea of what you think it could be, and you're thinking it's something less nature driven and more arcane driven.
All right. So, should she do an Arcana check?
Yeah, go for it. Give me a Arcana check.
All right. $19.
19. Okay. So with the 19, you kind of are looking at this with a different lens, and now that you're kind of looking at it with a little bit different lens, you have a general, like, you can really kind of help identify whatever this curse is. And you now have a general idea that she has been essentially put to sleep. She's been hit with like a sleep curse, essentially. And you can tell that somebody did it. Like, this is not something that would have accidentally happened. This is something that might have been, she had been hit with prior to getting hit with the Devil's Barb. The Devil's Barb has simply covered it to the point where you're not sure how into it this sleep is. Your mother now comes up over your shoulders. You're kind of like scanning through these books, and as you're kind of on this kind of essentially book of curses at this point, he's kind of like reading the book over your shoulder and kind of reading your face. Do you have an idea of what it could be, lad?
I think it's some sort of sleeping curse.
She has a bit of worry, as like a bit of like color kind of drains from her face a little bit, like, oh shit. Right. Okay. Well, this is above me. Your mom, you have kind of been touched essentially with a bit of celestial magic that aids you in your healing. Your mother is she has just been a healer. Like, she's known her way around the woods and known her way around ointments, whereas you have like essentially a deity that is helping you with yours. Well, okay, curse is fine. I know. You do you remember Samael?
Who?
Roll a history check for me.
Okay. That's a 5.
A 5. The name sounds familiar to you. You've heard Samael before, but you cannot place one. Samael, the Asimar, the former church leader. He tours around the area every so often.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember.
Okay, well, he used to travel a lot more around these areas, but he's kind of up there in age. Last I heard, he is kind of holding down a all faiths church, I think is how it was described to me. But I'm not, as far as I'm aware, it's down in Oak Creek. He's the closest individual I know who might be able to help her.
And she kind of takes a deep breath. And I guess I'm gonna have to go, aren't I?
Your mom is slightly happy that you're leaving, but also it's like, oh fuck. Like, she's not leaving because she wants to, she's leaving because she's trying to save this poor woman's life. Well, I mean, yeah, kinda. Well, I mean, I could go if you don't really, if you really don't want to.
It's all right, Mother. I'll go.
She, once again, is kind of moving with a little bit of smile, a little bit of glee, like, yay! She's like, not yay, she's leaving, but yay, like you're, like traveling, like you're doing the thing that she wants you to do. Um, she immediately like leaves the church. Like, all right, you start gathering your things. I'm going to get you a something to help transport the girl. You still have no idea what her name is.
All right.
Um, as you kind of begin gathering your stuff, you hear out front, you hear a wagon essentially pulling up. And then out the front doors, you see that there is a old mule with a single, like with a little small wagon sitting behind it. I'm sorry, dearie. This is the best I can come up with at short notice.
It'll have to do.
Old Brucey will get you there. Don't worry. Old Brucey will get you there. And you see this mule is just like teeth missing. Like this thing has been just out in the fields for its entire life and is so tired.
And Nissa just goes over and gives it a pat. I'm sorry about this, Bruce.
He kind of nuzzles your head and just, hmm. Just a very Eeyore-esque like looking face to it, just like, it's okay. Um, your mom helps you get her into the back of the wagon. And before you can leave, she puts a small pouch in your. Look, this is everything that I have learned. I have put into this, and you can see it's. She put like this essentially a healer's kit in your hand, but you know it's her healer's kit. This thing is made of like a dark, very worn leather, and this thing has just files and pouches and little baggies and like this is decades worth of knowledge and collection that has all been wrapped up in this, and your mom is just like, take it.
And Nissa gives her mother a big hug. Thank you, Mother.
She's your mom is like fighting, breaking down in tears of just like pure happiness. Just you'll be back. I know you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Now please go before your father realizes I took the mule.
All right, all right. And Nissa's gonna head out.
You start heading out, and you're following a fairly worn trail. You know where Oak Creek is. You've dealt with them before, and you know the church that your mom was talking about. But you like Samael was after she described him. You're like, oh, the old guy at the church. Got it. I guess he's a big deal. And as you begin marching down the road, and as you're doing that, Invia,
Yes.
you feel your body healed. The tingling is stopped. The scratches from the barbs are almost faded. Yet there is something else that is keeping you asleep.
I'm sorry, what?
You weren't here for that part.
No, I was not.
You don't know what is keeping you asleep or
Great.
why it could, from but you know, well, you have a feeling that it's not, well, natural based on the fact that you are aware of your surroundings. It's almost like in that waking is like that moment of being awake and asleep at the same time, where you're aware of what's going on around you, but you sleep paralysis. That's the word I want.
Okay.
So you're aware of what's
Cool.
going on around you, but you don't know why you can't move, why you can't speak, open your eyes. You're breathing, you're there, but for some reason you're not doing this. And as you sit there, you feel a presence next to you. You can't look to see who it is, but you feel them speaking softly. Be still, child. All will make sense soon. Rest. We are proud of you.
Genvia is just gonna lay there like, okay. I don't have any other choice. I just gotta lay here. I'm not going anywhere.
And just like that, the presence that you felt kind of dissipates. And you and Nissa begin your lovely little carriage ride down to Oak Creek. Now, if I could get where we at right now? You know, everybody, give me just a straight D20 roll.
15.
6.
A 2.
Think you're muted there, Ollie. I didn't hear you.
5.
5. So we got a 15, 6, 5, and a 2. So, because you guys are a tag team, Jinria and Nissa, you guys roll into town. As you guys get into town, it is very small. It has a large river kind of running down one side with some buildings along it. You guys are coming in from the northwest? Yeah, we'll say northwest. Nissa, as you begin pulling into town, you notice that a lot of the houses are empty. They seem very cookie cutter, like they're almost like they're just like a copy and paste of the houses. They're all very small, one bedroom, like very little shacks almost that are just kind of like dotting along the road, until you get to the corner out here where you have a handful of large buildings, one of which you can tell is the mill based on the giant saw blade you see outside, and this weird contraption that is kind of like hanging in the river that looks like it's there to scoop the logs that are cut down upstream and be dragged onto the shore. Next to that is what you can assume is a blacksmith based off of the sounds coming from the inside and the giant furnace looking thing sticking out the side of the building. And then next to that, you find a large bar or inn. And then across from all those, the biggest building out of them all is a large building that you assume to be the church.
And this is gonna head for the church.
As you pull in, give me a perception check, please.
All right. A 15.
15. You notice that though there are not a lot of people there, there's a few like there's a couple women here and there, a few guys and girls kind of running around, a few little kids. You notice that in front of the bar is about 3 or 4 armed, kind of look like guards. But they're all wearing, you would know this from 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 the area, that they are wearing the mark of the Baron, the ruler of this region. They're all wearing just big shiny breastplates, all of them kind of like joking, drinking, kind of BSing with each other. And then you see this just a man who kind of looks like his armor's a bit finer. It's a bit bigger due to him having a very large gut, pot belly individual, balding on top, very like just pencil thin mustache up there. And he's kind of like watching you guys go past, or watching you go past, kind of like smoking the cigarette, and just kind of like really staring you down for a reason that you have no fucking idea why.
And Nissa's starting to feel kind of nervous.
You make your way up to the church. You pull up front, and then as you do so, the doors open and you see a very old man, well, old Azamar, standing there. He's wearing some a basic brown cloak. Not wearing, having learned very early on not to wear white out here because it's just going to get dirty. So he just sticks with brown, makes it look cleaner for longer. He then proceeds to kind of walk up to you.
Ah, yes, my child. What brings you here?
I'm looking for Samael. I have an injured who may be cursed.
He kind of like leans on the staff a little bit that he's holding, as he's using as a walking stick, and you see a smile. Like you can like it almost looks like he's just been smiling for his entire life with just how many wrinkles he has as he does.
Well, you found him. Let's see what you have for me to help with today.
And Nissa's going to go into the back of the carriage and she's gonna get Jinvia.
She's just gonna drag Jinvia out of the car. Just drag by the foot. Just drag her.
I'm gonna need give me an athletics check.
Okay.
Yeah, athletics check, because Samael's he ain't gonna be able to help you out much.
Oh no.
A 20.
20 is easy. So you kind of you drop the little tailgate, and Jinvia is kind of propped up. You didn't just like yeet her into the basket. She is laying on hay because that is what your mom had available, because this was your family's cart and mule. Like, this thing was sitting out front. Your dad was going to use this for something later on in the week, and your mom was like, yoink! Our daughter needs this! Bye! Without saying anything. He has no idea. He just knows that his mule and cart is gone. So, you like kind of grab her kind of by the ankles and kind of like shimmy her out a little bit, and then you just scoop her up bridal style, no issue whatsoever. And then carry her, and then you're kind of holding her, and he's like,
Yes, bring her in, bring her in.
And Samael leads you into the church. As you walk in there, you are, from the outside, it looked pretty basic, pretty bland, nothing crazy about it. But as you step through the doors, everything is stone, but like almost a marble-esque stone. And it's just like, as you're walking, your footsteps are kind of echoing in here as just rows of pews. There are deities of every like of gods that you know and some gods that you don't immediately recognize along the side. And then in the back there are three large doors. He starts kind of going into one, stops, and then kind of moves. He starts going into the door on the far left, stops, and instead goes into the door on the far right. Opens it up.
Here, she may rest in my quarters.
This is gonna bring Jinvia in and set her down.
So, tell me, what is your name, child?
My name is Nissa.
Sir, don't know if I don't recall that name. Have you come far, Nissa?
I came from Dalwar.
Almo, ah yes. Quaint little town. Well, who do we have here?
I'm not sure of her name. She came suddenly from the forest, having scratched herself on some devil's barb. But we discovered some other injuries that we believe to be a sleeping curse.
He kind of like he hears you saying this and he smiles but is a little bewildered at the fact that you are like the fact that you just did like you didn't take advantage of her in like the way of like just robbing her or leaving her for dead. Like
So a stranger approaches you and you heal her without a second's thought.
I mean, that's the right thing to do when somebody's in trouble, is to help them.
he smiles warmly.
That it is, my child, that it is. Wish more thought of your way. Well, allow me to look.
And he kind of drops to a knee and kind of like sets his cane down and begins looking Jinvia's arm. Jinvia, you are hearing all of this, and you are now feeling his hands on you, and he begins kind of looking at some of the marks. And he's like,
Yes. Yes. Oh no. No, it's nothing that I can't. Well, shouldn't, I should say, be able to take care of.
and his hands kind of glow with this celestial light as he passes it over the arm, and you see little bits of the barb that were a bit deeper in the wound. Sorry, my dog was super into that. Little bits and pieces of the barb that were in those deeper wounds that you hadn't noticed. But then also you notice as it kind of pulls out, there's almost like a little bit of like smoke, almost like a purple pinkish smoke that comes out of the wound as well.
Yeah, you were right. The curse that afflicted her was, well, nothing too powerful, but if untreated like it was, well, let's just be thankful that your kind heart got her here when you did.
And as Jinvia, as you feel the hands and you kind of feel the barbs come out of your arm, and as that smoke comes off, your eyes like snap open. And you are now greeted by the sight, because you weren't able to see anything, you could just hear stuff. So now you see this very old Azamar and the woman who you're assuming brought you here, the Furbolg who brought you here.
Jinvia is going to carefully sit up.
Oh,
And-
easy. Careful, we don't want you to collapse. Sorry. My humor's always been a little off.
No, it's all right. Thank you. I wasn't really asleep. I couldn't open my eyes, but I was able to hear everything. She looks to Nissa. Are you the one that brought me here?
I am.
And I'm sorry, your name is Nissa?
It is.
She kind of holds her hand out. I'm in your debt. Thank you, Nissa.
No debt necessary. I'm a healer. This is my job.
Regardless, thank you.
Quite welcome.
If I hadn't found you, I don't know what would have happened. I probably wouldn't be here. She kind of like takes her hand and like shakes it, like thank you. And then she looks to the Azamar, and thank you as well.
He smiles warmly.
It's no problem, my child. It is what I'm here for.
And he kind of gets his cane and like kind of stands back up.
Well, are you here about the murders as well, or simply to heal?
Murders.
Murders.
I am sorry, it seems you were not here for that. I apologize. We've had a lot of, interesting characters coming into town. Some of you might have seen at the bar on your way through.
He kind of points to you, Nissa.
Yes, I saw some people in armor outside of the inn.
You didn't have the, pleasure of speaking with them, did you?
No, but one of them was giving me a rather uncomfortable look.
Let me guess. A balding man who looks like, well, his best years are behind him?
Yes.
He starts like coughing, like, oh god.
Are you all right?
Oh, yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just a little cough is all. You know, it gets to us all in our old age.
Well, what can you tell us about these murders? Like she's kind of like piqued an interest.
Well,
If the town needs help, then I'd be more than willing to help.
well, it's really not. I don't know most of the details. I'm simply one of the people who examined the bodies when they were found. If you want to get, well, any of the real information or better information to go off of, it would probably be best that you speak with Harbeck at the mill.
How do you spell that, DM?
Harbik.
He'll be able to fill you in on, well, who they are, and unless you just want to look at the bodies now. I must say it is a bit gruesome.
Well, it kind of looks to Nissa. I think I will take a look at the bodies. I do kind of want to help out.
I would I would be interested to see as well. Perhaps we can learn something.
Okay. Right. So you guys are gonna start looking at the bodies, and then let's see. It was Judge DM. You got who I can't remember who rolled higher between the two. Yeah, you got a 6, and then Ali, you got a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as they are doing this, Bev ends up rolling into the city. You guys are over there. You guys end up rolling into the city, coming in from essentially the opposite direction, or the opposite direction that they did. You kind of see relatively the same stuff, except obviously you coming from the other side. You see this large church, you see the bar, you see all these rows of houses, and then based on the note you were given, you were told to speak to the owner.
Okay.
Okay, so you can either actually give me a perception check.
Perceptions plus 5. 17.
17. Okay. So as you are passing the bar, you also notice the guard, the Baron's men, and the heavy set balding man is staring at you, except this one is he's when he was looking at Nissa, it was more of like a watch yourself. He's looking at you with like an actual layer of disgust. Like, what the hell is this thing?
I just look over at the guy and like wink.
You end up getting right up to the mill doors, and as you do, you notice a large cart coming from the other direction. Tourists, you you end up coming like rolling into town, coming in from the other way. The cart stops in front of the mill as the rest of the people begin to kind of jump out the back of the cart.
Well, time to earn our pay.
Yeah. Of course. I'll be with you guys in a second. I've got a one second. Terrace just kind of uses that as an excuse to sort of
Yep, shimmy away.
shimmy away.
So they all kind of like filter out, and they actually don't go right to the mill. They actually end up going into some of the shacks. Based on kind of how they spread out, they either live or rented from this place before, and so they're going to kind of just like put away their things before moving and going to talk to the mill master. If you look around, give me a perception check as well. See if you notice the guards.
11.
11. Based on where you're at, you notice some guys in armor, but you have no idea who they are. You are new to this area. They're just guys in armor to you. And so as you're standing there and you're kind of like in between the mill and the blacksmith, you notice a odd looking dwarf kind of like walking into the mill.
Terrace just kind of looks over, sort of sees this guy. He doesn't think much of him to start with, but there's something about him that makes him think like, I feel like this guy knows his way around here. This guy's got a connection or two. Like, should probably mosey on over, just see whereabouts he's going. It's a brand new area for Terrasus. He doesn't know where he is. He needs to get something that has a bit of a lay of the land. The guys in the cart just knew work in the mill, and that was it. This dwarf guy seems like he knows what's up a little bit more. Scurries on over to him.
Bev is standing there. He's fiddling in one of his pouches, pulls out the piece of paper that told him who he needs to meet. Turns the paper around so it's right side up. And as this giant minotaur is like walking towards him, he's just like cleaning the wax out of his ears, like flicks it. Whoa, you're a big fella.
Yeah. You know your way around here, son.
I know my way around places. They're all relatively the same.
I'm looking for some money.
Money, you say?
Big money. I'm kind of low on pocket at the moment.
Ah, aren't we all? There's a bit of work. Might not be for the light of stomach.
Go on.
Apparently, there's been some murders here. And the mill guy, what's his name? Harbick. This guy. Apparently, he's trying to look to see maybe if anyone's got information or can figure out how they were murdered. Here, there's a bit of coin in it.
Count me in. When do we
Nice.
start?
Well, right now, apparently, we just got to find this car fellow. Now, in the mill area, does there look like, aside from the workers, does there look like there's anyone that's in charge or might?
Yeah, so actually at the mill itself, you don't actually see really any workers themselves. You see like the big swinging arm, but like it's kind of locked in. There's a big saw blade. There's a couple little pieces of lumber there, but nothing that is going to like there's not really a lot going on there. There is an office attached to it where you hear somebody kind of like you hear a person in there kind of like moving some things around, like shuffling some.
Okay. So Bev is gonna look at Torque, who's probably on his shoulder. Hopefully.
Yeah, Torque had landed there, and he's definitely staring up at Turius. Just his little eyes, just kind of like.
Don't mind him. He doesn't like giants, but that's one of us. Torque, do me a favor. Do the word where you fly around and you do the thing. You look at the stuffs and you just go check out the area.
And give an investigation check for him.
Okay. That's gonna be a regular plus -3. Nice. He's not good at the investigations. So we'll do this and subtract. So 10.
10. It flies up and it kind of does a lap. It lands and is like, which roughly you've kind of, with your years of working with him, well, your time with them, I'm not actually sure if it was years or not, but your time with him kind of has a general understanding of there's trees, I saw houses, I saw people.
Nice.
Feed me.
He gives him like a ration treat, like a little bit of ration treat. Yeah, he doesn't know shit. We probably should go and check in this area here and see if there's anybody that knows what's up. So he starts heading where that guy's probably at that office.
Okay.
Area.
So so both of you guys are walking into the mill?
Yes.
Or walking into, I guess, the mill's office. Okay. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we're going to end this. This has been the 0.5 get to know your characters, getting them all in here. That's not, hey, you all 4 people walk into a tavern. I tried. We made it work in the end. Wasn't actually sure if Jinvia was coming back or not, so I was fully prepared to make you stay asleep for a bit longer.
To be fair, I was not expecting to come back. Shit happened. So, yeah.
But hey, we make it work. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us on the first episode of Legends of Noia. Our next episode will be in 2 weeks from today. We'll be over here on the channel. And then starting in September, all of these shows are going to be streamed over on the Dungeon Mechanics Twitch channel, which if you guys are not already following, please think about going over there and hitting it, becoming one of the first 50 people. That way, whenever we start rolling with this, you guys can catch every Do it! You guys can catch every game that we do, not just Legends of Noia, but also Death Savers, Diademia Aftermath. What is it? The Adventures of what are the other ones? With
Tales of
Diademia?
Diademia.
Tales of
Final Fantasy.
There's
so
like
many.
Diademia. Look, we got like 2 Diademia campaigns. We've got Death Savers, Legends of Noia, Final Fantasy D&D game. We have other games that we are convincing certain people to try to stream, but they probably won't stream them because they don't feel comfortable with it yet, but that's okay. Not naming names. Not even looking in a general direction. I'm going to keep looking at the camera. Not even looking, not pointing, not gesturing, nothing at all. Just saying that individual is when they feel comfortable with it, they will start streaming it, and we will not bully them into streaming sooner.
Thanks for understanding, Paul.
It's no problem. It's no problem. Look, once you figure out how to make London a D&D ready, we are going to be happy to just the London Bridge falling down, or like
Like
save
a London Noir.